Why does being overly nice fail to earn respect? Let's uncover the truth. Many believe that being nice, always accommodating, always agreeable is the key to winning someone over. But here's the hard truth. Niceness rooted in insecurity or neediness doesn't inspire respect. It signals weakness. Think about this. Have you ever seen someone who bends over backward to please everyone? It's exhausting, right? But more importantly, it's ineffective. People, whether friends, colleagues, or women, respect those who stand firm in their values and boundaries, not those who sacrifice themselves just to make others happy. In today's video, we'll dive into why being overly nice often backfires and how self-respect, authenticity, and setting clear boundaries can change the way people perceive and treat you. By the end, you'll see why dropping the need to be liked is the first step to being truly respected. Here's a sneak peek. We'll explore how scarcity increases value, why power dynamics matter, and how elevating your standards not only improves your relationships, but also enhances your life. So stick around, because what you'll learn today might just transform how you approach life and relationships. Let's dive into why being overly nice often backfires in relationships. At first glance, niceness seems like a positive trait. Who wouldn't want to be kind and considerate? But when niceness is rooted in insecurity or a need for validation, it becomes a form of manipulation. Instead of being a genuine gesture, it becomes a tool to win approval, affection, or acceptance. And here's the hard truth. People can sense it. Think about it this way. If someone is overly agreeable, constantly bending over backward, and never standing up for themselves, it doesn't signal kindness. It signals neediness. Imagine a situation where a guy constantly compliments a woman, agrees with her every opinion, and always offers to do things for her even when she doesn't ask. At first, she might appreciate the attention, but soon it feels forced and worse, insincere. Let me give you a real-life example. There was a man, let's call him John, who thought the best way to win someone's affection was to always say yes. If she wanted to watch a movie, he'd agree. If she wanted a coffee, he'd offer to buy it. But over time, his niceness came across as desperate. Instead of appreciating his efforts, she started to lose respect for him. Why? Because he wasn't showing his true self. His need to be liked overshadowed his personality. This doesn't mean kindness is bad. It's not about being rude or cold. It's about being authentic. When you're too nice, people question your motives. Are you being genuine, or are you trying to get something out of it? The impact is significant. You lose respect, you weaken your position in relationships, and you end up feeling frustrated and unfulfilled. Here's the lesson. Kindness must come from confidence, not fear of rejection. Be kind, but don't let it compromise your boundaries or self-respect. Genuine kindness earns respect, but over-niceness rooted in insecurity leads to the opposite. Let's talk about how respect is truly earned. And spoiler alert, it's not by trying to make everyone happy. Respect stems from knowing your worth, being authentic, and setting boundaries. It's about showing the world and yourself that your time, energy, and values have meaning. When you speak your mind without fear, people notice. Let me give you an example. Imagine a colleague, Michael, who was always agreeable. If a co-worker needed help, he'd drop everything. If his boss wanted extra hours, Michael never said no. On the surface, he seemed like the perfect employee. But here's the catch: people started taking him for granted. He felt drained, unappreciated, and stuck in a cycle of pleasing others. One day, Michael decided enough was enough. When a co-worker asked him to finish their part of a project last minute, he politely but firmly said, "No, I have my own deadlines to meet." That moment was a turning point. He set a boundary. Not only did his co-worker respect his response, but Michael also realized that saying no wasn't the end of the world. In fact, it was empowering. Now, let's translate this into relationships. When you say yes to everything, even things that go against your principles, you lose respect both from others and yourself. Here's the thing: people admire confidence. They admire those who stand up for what they believe in and don't compromise their values for approval. Practical tip number 1. Speak your mind, but do it respectfully. Saying no isn't about being harsh, it's about being clear. For example, if someone asks you to do something you're uncomfortable with, try this. I understand why you're asking, but that doesn't work for me. See how simple that is. Practical tip number 2. Practice saying no. Start small. Say no to plans that don't excite you or requests that stretch you too thin. Over time, it becomes easier. Remember, boundaries are not about keeping people out. They're about protecting what's valuable inside your time, energy, and values. True respect isn't demanded, it's earned. And it's earned by showing up as your authentic self, refusing to compromise your principles, and being unapologetic about your worth. Let's dive into a powerful concept that can redefine your relationships. Scarcity creates value. Yes, this principle, often applied to economics or luxury goods, applies just as effectively to personal dynamics. When something is rare, it's valued. On the other hand, over-availability can diminish your perceived worth. Think about it. Imagine a restaurant that's always empty. It doesn't matter how great their food might be. The lack of demand can make you question their quality. The same applies to people. If you're constantly available, always texting first, and making all the plans, you might unknowingly be lowering your value in someone else's eyes. Now, I'm not saying to play games or manipulate people. This is about balance and self-respect. When you limit your attention and energy intentionally, you create a dynamic where others value the time and effort you do invest. For example, let's consider Jason. Jason was the guy who was always there for everyone, whether it was a late-night call or a last-minute favor. But instead of earning gratitude, he found himself feeling unappreciated. His availability was taken for granted. One day, Jason decided to take a step back. He started prioritizing his own goals and limited how much he reached out. Within weeks, he noticed a change. People began valuing his presence more and respecting his time. That's the power of scarcity in action. So how do you use this principle? Here's a practical tip. Stop saying yes to everything. Be deliberate with your attention. If you're always the one initiating, take a step back and observe. Give people the space to show their interest and effort. Another tip, focus on quality interactions instead of quantity. When you're with someone, be present, engage deeply, and make it count. This shows that while your time may be limited, it's meaningful. Remember, scarcity isn't about cutting people off, it's about setting boundaries and showing that your time and energy are valuable. Power dynamics in relationships aren't about controlling others, they're about controlling yourself. When you're deliberate with your availability, you naturally command more respect and create healthier, more balanced connections. Let's talk about the power of elevating your standards, not just in relationships, but in every aspect of life. When you raise your expectations, you send a powerful message. You know your worth and won't settle for less. First, understand this. What you accept is what you'll continue to receive. If you tolerate disrespect, dishonesty, or mediocrity, you signal that these behaviors are acceptable. But the moment you set boundaries and demand more, you shift the dynamic. You attract people and opportunities that match your elevated standards. For example, imagine Sarah. She was in a relationship where her efforts went unnoticed. She always compromised, thinking it would make her partner happy. But deep down, she felt unfulfilled. One day, she decided to prioritize herself. She communicated her needs clearly, and when her partner didn't step up, she walked away. It was a tough decision, but it opened the door to a relationship that truly valued her. So, how do you elevate your standards? Start with personal growth. Focus on areas you've been neglecting, whether it's your health, career, or hobbies. The more you invest in yourself, the higher your self-worth will be, and that radiates outward. Second, don't be afraid to walk away. This doesn't mean giving up easily. It means knowing when a situation no longer serves your growth or aligns with your values. People often fear walking away because they equate it with failure. But leaving what doesn't work is a sign of strength, not weakness. Lastly, set goals that challenge you. In relationships, this might mean seeking a partner who matches your ambition or shares your core values. In life, it could mean pursuing a career that excites you or achieving a fitness goal you've always wanted. Remember, raising your standards is not about being demanding or difficult. It's about creating a life that reflects your true value. When you elevate your expectations, you create space for respect, fulfillment, and success. Let's take a moment to wrap up everything we've discussed today. If there's one thing I want you to remember, it's this: respect isn't gained through being overly nice. It's earned through authenticity, setting boundaries, and having the courage to stand firm in your values. Being nice isn't inherently bad, but when it's rooted in insecurity or a need for approval, it can lead to a loss of respect from others and, more importantly, from yourself. Self-respect is the cornerstone of earning respect from others. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to compromise it for validation. Think about this. How can you expect others to value you if you don't value yourself? When you prioritize self-respect, you naturally command respect in return. People start to see you as someone who knows their worth and doesn't settle for less. Let me share a quick example. Imagine a man named Tom who always said yes to everything. He thought his constant availability would make him more likable, but instead, people began to take him for granted. One day, he decided to prioritize himself. He started saying no when he needed to and set clear boundaries. The result? People began to respect his time and efforts more than ever before. Now, I want to leave you with a challenge. Take a moment to reflect on your own experiences. Have you ever been too nice in the past? How did it impact your relationships? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience could inspire someone else to make a positive change. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share this video with someone who might need this message. Let's create a community where we prioritize self-respect, growth, and healthy relationships. Together, we can redefine what it means to live with authenticity and strength. Thank you for watching, and remember, respect starts with you.